Hello, everybody. Hopefully I'm actually live now. And sorry about the delay there. We had some technical difficulties at my end. I don't know why my browser just sometimes, if I have too many tabs open and I try to present PDF, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think, this time. So just killed my connection, or sorry, killed my browser and took the stream and everything with it. Anyways, we're here. So, hey, Ian, maybe. Good to have you here. If you are on the stream, by all means, feel free to say hello. That would be nice. Tell me where you're tuned in from, maybe. So today I'm on my own, which is unusual. Normally I have Ben here to help carry the weight, so to speak. The green screen is now not working. Oh, because it fell down. So yeah, normally I have Ben here to help carry the weight, but today, unfortunately, I'm on my own. So I'll be taking you through basically what we've done, what's happened in July, and just a recap of what's happened in July, and walking you through just some insights into what we're going to be doing in August. So first up, I'll just run through an agenda. Ben loves these agendas. So he's actually not here today because he's on his honeymoon. So he's probably, I don't know what he's doing, maybe traipsing through the jungle somewhere or something, I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to go through some growth stats, talk about the phase 3 launch, the performance fee system. I'm going to give you some marketing updates. We'll talk about IT progress and what's coming up next. So without further ado, let's jump into this. Just 1 second. Just going to quickly fix this. Now, first up, growth stats. Very, very happy to announce that we passed the 8,000 users milestone during the week, which was pretty sweet. The amount of average new accounts per day last month was something in the region of 33 to 35 on average. But that obviously changed around a bit with all of what's been happening in the marketplace. So that's pretty normal. It's to be kind of expected. However, we are still growing, and this week in particular, with the announcement of the phase 3 launch, it has definitely helped move the needle in a good way as well. So the total value locked at the moment is something around. Actually, I think that number may be wrong. Dan, can you check what the total value locked is? I just want to double check that number for you guys. Market cap is 9.8 million. The token all-time high is still the same at around 10 cents. And our current price is hovering just below 3 cents, depending on the day that you check. So plus or minus, at the moment, it's earlier on today when I double checked that, it was around 2.75 cents. So again, this is potentially a great time to buy the token at that price, because with performance fees and everything I'll talk about in a minute, it should really help the token sort of increase in its value. So the phase 3 launch happened. So what that is basically, we have an article about it if you want to read about it in more detail, but I'll just run you through the very high level on it. So it's a huge milestone in the platform's development. It is it's a really, really big achievement for our development team. At this point, countless hours of developer time has gone into building the performance fee system. It is a beast. It calculates so much stuff in terms of, you know, who gets what percentage of fees, etc. And it manages all of that. So basically, the performance fee system is now live. When you activate a trading bot, you allocate some UBXT to that trading bot, and then when the trading bot wins, you get, you know, part of the winnings is distributed to the algorithm developer, to UpBots, et cetera, to the profit pools, and to the burning program. So I've been asked to zoom in a little bit on the PDF. No problem, Piero. So yeah, it's a big milestone for us. It's very, very important, obviously, and so we now have a let's say a commercially working fundamental platform. It works at a commercial level. So phase 3 is the last phase of our sort of 3-phase rollout of the commercial version of the platform. When we complete phase 3, we will launch the full application, and that will be our sort of cornerstone from there to go deeper with. So we'll build extra features. It'll just be extra and more, basically. So more bots, you know, more algo devs, more options for you to trade with in terms of the way that you can manually trade. You know, more features like social copy trading, etc. But again, I'm going to get onto that in a little bit. I'm kind of jumping ahead. So yeah, we just wanted, the reason we did this was we just wanted to make sure that we had a controlled rollout, basically. So the last stage was the battalion testing everything and some investors, the team. This phase 3 is everybody. It's a scale up, and you know, phase 2 went very well. There was a lot of improvements and feedback that got implemented, but now it's time to add more traders, more people trading, more people on the bots, etc. So so that's where we're at right now. Yeah, so the everyone wins or nobody does system, the ecosystem of success, as we sort of say, is now live. So so that's phase 3. I just wanted to touch on the UpBots DAO again this month. We have a new, well, I suppose first of all, last month the first DAO vote to name the UpBots bot. That all went quite well. Everything worked as intended. It was a little bit different in the sense that, you know, we created the proposal ourselves just to sort of get the ball rolling. And, you know, in that way, we sort of skipped a couple of stages at the start. So technically speaking, the first proper proposal has been put into the UpBots DAO chat on Discord, which is where I guess we sort of discuss things before they get set up as an actual proposal in Snapshot, and, you know, voting and all the rest of the process can happen then. There's a whole bit on how you can make proposals. Anybody can. How they get moved on, you know, what's involved, how you can vote, and all those kinds of things on our Git book. So you can go check that out. If you're not sure where to go, by all means, pop into Telegram or on Discord and ask. We're happy to, the admins in there will happily give you links. But yeah, so that's where the DAO is right now. There's a new vote being proposed at the moment, which it hasn't moved on to the vote stage yet. It's still on the proposal stage. So if enough people think it's a good idea, we will move forward with that as a vote. But you can see there, it's from Chapo, and he's basically suggesting that we remove local Telegram groups and keep just English support. You know, I think his comment is it should be a quality over quantity type thing at the moment, that having the amount of international communities that we have right now is not something a lot of other projects have. You know, community is very important to us. It's hugely important to us. We've made improvements based off community suggestions since day one. And I think a consequence of that is that we have a a fairly decent degree of loyalty from our community as a whole. We try to be as transparent as we can be, and it's definitely a two-way dialogue. So your voice has always been heard, but this is a really, really tricky thing, because of course, if you speak French or German or Spanish or Chinese or whatever, you want to have your own community. You want to be able to speak in your own language. It makes it easier to I suppose, become emotionally involved in a project. So that's definitely something I would like to see us keep. But at the same time, right now crypto is shrinking. Communities are not growing in size at the moment. They're shrinking. So yeah, it's kind of a tricky one, because there is a running cost in that. It costs us money every month to run those communities. And you could definitely make an argument for that money being spent elsewhere in terms of budget. So yeah, so I would love it if people would go and get their voice heard. If you feel strongly one way or the other, we'd love to hear from you, because ultimately, we're going to have the most amount of happy community members if we have the most amount of voices being heard. So I'll just leave that one there. So moving onwards. I'm just going to talk about the marketing a little bit. So in July, we crossed the 8,000 users on the platform threshold, which is absolutely amazing. We are dramatically outpacing where our forecasts were set up to, we were aiming for. So yeah, that's just another huge milestone for the project and the platform. A large number of those are active. There's been quite a large jump in the number of people that are actively trying out the bots as well, which is another testament to the marketing that was done in the last, I would say, 6 weeks. I can't give you exact percentages on that at the moment, but yeah, we may do an article on it just to share those in the future. So yeah, other than that, we have solidified the partnership with BitMEX. So they published that on their, so UpBots is now on their partnership pages on their website. We are going to do more with them, so there's more to come on that. I can't really share a lot of details in terms of what that looks like, but they are, BitMEX are a team of very serious people. They have a huge amount of smart people on their team and an enormous amount of capital, etc., behind them. So they're on a mission to sort of reclaim their market share, I would say, from where they were. And I can certainly see them. So they're really open to doing things, promotions, etc., like that. So we are going to do something with them in the future, I hope. And there will be more on that in an update coming soon, I think. Twitter is continuing to be a really high engagement environment for us, which is great. I think in part that's due to us doing the third month of the NFT on Twitter this month, or in the last, let's say, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So that's great. Very happy about that. Crypto Twitter is actually the place to be if you're in the crypto space. We had a review come out just this week from the Capital, which was quite nice, I think. We also launched a new type of visual content to try and sort of more concisely communicate our key narratives. I think, picture paints 1,000 words, as they say. So I think sort of more visual content is something we're going to be trying to do. It's one of the reasons we do this live stream as a video as opposed to an article. So that's a direction we've tried to move in over the last, I would say, few months, and I think that's overall a positive that's been positively received. So we will continue down that road. We have, I'm working with a really cool sort of 3D animation kind of a guy. So we're going to try and do some animated maybe not explainers, but animated videos maybe that we're going to test it out and see how it goes. And of course, we had 3 new algo developers. Actually, we had 2 new algo developers in July whose algorithms were QA approved and were added to the platform. So you've probably already seen them. They've been performing very well, I would say. And of course, we had some new algorithms from iRobot, which have also been performing very well. And yeah, we also then this week, in last week, I don't know, for those of you who were watching it last month rather, we talked about how we were somewhat actively going after new algorithm developers to list their algorithms or to plug their algos into our trading bots. As you may be aware, UpBots is a software company, not a algorithm development company. So, algorithm developers are people we want to be talking to. They're people we want to have on the platform listing their algos, so that we can create bots with them, and then and then create more choice for our users. So basically, we agreed, we signed essentially 3 new developers this week, and we have many more conversations going on at the moment with other algorithm developers. It's actually quite a lengthy process because we want to be sure that, first of all, they understand the paradigm, which is quite different with UpBots than other platforms and our competitors. So there's just a massive opportunity for algorithm developers that's it's nothing like the type of opportunities that they can get on our competitors' platforms, which I'm not going to get into naming names, but and then of course we had the AMA with Unifarm, which was really interesting. That's a really interesting platform as well. Shout out to Unifarm. If you haven't already checked them out, I would recommend taking a look. We are still exploring doing something with them in the future as well, in terms of UBXT perhaps joining a farm. So we'll see. NFT giveaway number 3 has just been won. Earlier on today, we ran the tiebreaker. There was two guys, or possibly girls, I don't know, in joint first place. The winner was on Twitter at, you can read it there, Pumu97220837. Yeah, just make it nice and easy for me. So yeah, they will receive the NFT if they haven't already done it. Dan is fairly on the ball with those kinds of things, so it could have already been shipped out. Yeah, we had again a great response to the NFT giveaway. We had depending on the day, we had between 5 and 50 entries per riddle. There were a couple of the sort of more question type days. Like one of the days we asked what the smart contract address was for I think it was for the Ethereum staking pool, which is really tricky. And we knew that was going to catch a lot of people up, and it did. I think there was only a handful of people on that day. Maybe that was the 5 day. And then on other days, there was a huge response. So I think that was quite good overall. We were, we had to try and make it a little bit difficult some days to try and create, an opportunity for somebody to be in the lead, as opposed to just, having like 60 people with the same amount of points. So I think that worked out quite well. If you're into riddles, it was definitely your kind of a month, I would guess. So yeah, so I think that went quite well. And then I had touched on this already, but we are still actively recruiting algorithm developers. I hope that someday we have every algorithm developer in the world is listing their algos on UpBots, and anybody who's a user on the platform has the best possible opportunity to get stuck in and make a good choice basically with where they want their capital to be traded. So yeah, so that's it. We're hoping that by the end of, it's a little bit more than hope. We're planning that by the end of phase 3 for the full commercial launch, that we will have a raft of new algorithms in there for you to play with and to choose from. So other marketing stuff, as I discussed, we already have a review out this week with the Capital. There's going to be an interview going out as well. We have a press release that's out, ready to be syndicated. It's going to go to, I think 400 plus news outlets for consideration. So should start seeing UpBots popping up all over the place. Just seems like a good time now that we have the the phase 3 live, and while we're still in a kind of a place where that the market is kind of still ranging sideways, I would say. So it hasn't declared itself definitely for the bulls or the bears as of yet. And yep, the website is still being updated. We have a new homepage that is largely built. There's just a few dynamic pieces that require data to be pulled from the UpBots platform, and because security is obviously like of paramount importance, it should be to any crypto project. It certainly is to us at UpBots. What we've done is, rather than tapping directly into the database to pull the information, we've had to set up a sort of a clone database that just pulls those particular pieces of information so that it's somewhat isolated from, so the main database has maximum security at all times. So that's how that's kind of working. So that's a little bit more challenging to set up than it would be, if we were just being lazy about it and pulling a thing. But as I say, security is our top priority. So that should be live in, I'm hoping, next week. On the other side of that design is just obviously one side, content is another. On the content side, we're going through a major audit and overhaul of our content. Our SEO, from an SEO standpoint, the domain authority of UpBots is quite good. We've actually had, in the assortment of promotion that we've done to date, we've had quite a lot of backlinks from reputable sources built. So we're going to build that out over the next 6 months. I would say SEO will play a huge role in what we do marketing-wise. And then other updates, we've published a number of articles in July. How safe is UpBots? UpBots performance fees. The article about UpBots performance fees is just to explain how the performance fee system works, because it is a win-win-win for everybody. And then we've done a bit of marketing around the release of our 3 new badass bots that are on the. Actually, I think it was 4 bots on the platform. All income, is this a stable coin? Commercial launch is dead. I'm not sure what you mean if it's a stable coin. UBXT is not a stable coin. It's not pegged to anything. It's our utility token. It's deflationary, but I'm not going to go into a deep dive on the tokenomics of UBXT. It's all available on our Medium, by all means. It's medium.com/upbots.com if you want to check that out. There's a full article there on the tokenomics, and with phase 3 going live, the tokenomics are finally powered up, so it should start to really ramp up in the coming weeks. So commercial launch is dead. No, the commercial launch is not dead. We're on phase 3, so it's moving along nicely. This one, I don't expect it to be as long a phase as phase 2 because we've ironed out a lot of bugs. Now we're looking at, once we add scale to the equation, what does that look like? Are there new things that, are there new bugs that show themselves that we couldn't emulate when there was only, 60 people? What happens when we add, 6,000 people? So those things are going to hopefully show themselves over the next week or 2. And I'm hoping that fairly quickly we will be able to move to the commercial launch, basically. So this is the 3rd phase of I don't want to say 4 phases. It's actually the 3rd phase of 3 phases, because at the conclusion of this phase is the commercial launch. So it's all part of that journey. So when will we get short strategies? From Neon Demon, or Damon, I should say. We will get short strategies when the margin trading part of the engine is rolled into production. There's a large amount of that code base is already written, but it's not ready for deployment yet, and that is something that we're working on in August. It's actually going to come up in a slide pretty soon. So I'll be touching on that again in a second. All right, so that's all the questions. If you do have any other questions, by all means, yeah, shout them out. I'll do my best to answer your questions as we go. So marketing in August, I'm going to get on to IT after this. And in the IT section, I'm going to talk about some of the more, I suppose, technical stuff. This section is about marketing. I'm not really sure why marketing comes before IT in the slide deck. We should probably move that around next month. It would be more intuitive, I think. But anyways, yeah, just bear with me. I am going to get there in another slide or so. So yeah, look, we're back to where we were at the start of July with the marketing strategy. I think it's going to very much depend on what the market does. You know, if things persist the way they have been, and we're in this sort of prolonged bear cycle, let's say, you know, then we're just going to continue to hustle and do what we've been doing, which is the organic guerrilla marketing, growth hacking. You know, we're going to try and release more visual content. We're going to try and do more AMAs. We're going to try and do more live stream interviews with projects that may be interesting to our users or to traders. Yeah, we're just going to try and organically grow that way. If the bulls come out to play and, you know, the market starts to go positive again, well, then we're going to jump back into spending money on influencers and ads to complement everything else that we're already doing. The only real difference is when it makes sense to spend marketing budget. And right now, I definitely don't think it makes sense to spend marketing budget. So the full commercial platform launch, yeah, right now to prepare for that in terms of marketing, we have a big push on to convert as many of our user base as possible to bot users. You know, obviously there's, you know, like when you look at the makeup of the 8,065 users that we have on the platform at the moment, you would have a subset who just came to check it out. You would have a subset of people who are you know, who have gone farther down that rabbit hole. So they may have verified their email. They may have connected by API key one of their or more of their centralized exchange accounts so that they can track their portfolio. They may have even activated a bot. So you have those as sort of different levels of engagement, let's say, with in terms of how active they are as a user on the platform. So right now we're going to push towards converting as many of those people as possible to sort of move them all along that as much as possible. And then, you know, we're also going to be focusing on trying to get new users into that journey. So people who haven't heard about UpBots yet, but who are maybe fed up of basically losing money trying to trade themselves at the moment, who, you know, when they look at the trading bots, they can see that, you know, some of the trading bots have performed quite well. And very steadily, you know, there's a number of bots that, like one of the bots, you know, made 40%, 45%, something like that last month, and has fairly consistently done that irrespective of the market conditions. So, you know, that's something that is definitely trading better than I am, let's say it like that. So that's something that I have employed in my own trading strategy, let's say. So, yeah, so we'll be doing new user acquisition marketing as well. Other than that, we've a bunch of marketing around the FTX staking coming to an end and what's next there. I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. We're building out an email marketing campaign so that to sort of help nurture our users who join the platform and they, for whatever reason, don't get any farther than, you know, maybe that initial stage where they're setting up a wallet, maybe, or maybe they just verified their email and then sort of got busy with life and forgot all about UpBots. So we want to make sure that for anybody who's verified their email and they've chosen to receive the educational content from us, that we help move them along, you know, do some lead nurturing and some user nurturing to help them understand the benefits of the platform and how they can use it, and just to make it a little bit less daunting if they're a total newbie, that it's a little bit less daunting what they have to do, etc. And then, yeah, we're going to experiment a little bit with animated videos. I touched on that before, showcasing, again, the sort of key narratives, like how how the UpBots performance fee system works and why that's a good thing, etc. We will, of course, have the fourth iteration, the fourth card in our 12-card series of the trader types of the NFT giveaway. I think NFT 4 is called the Degen, so that should be interesting. A little bit of a departure, maybe, and yeah, we have to still figure out exactly what we're going to do to give that away. So I'd love to hear your suggestions on format. If anybody wants to pop suggestions into either this live stream, or if you're watching it later on, by all means, feel free to dump them into the Telegram group or into the Discord group. That would be great. And then, of course, our normal operational activities that we're doing every month, irrespective of what else is going on. All right, IT developments and the July recap. So performance fees live, that's the big Bertha of everything that's been going on in July. We went to phase 2, obviously. The battalion and investors tested everything, and there were bugs. There were opportunities for improvement. So I think it would be fair to say that most of our team have been working very hard on the performance fees and making sure that works as well as possible to get us to phase 3 for most of the last month. Many improvements were made, and now as a consequence of that work, UBXT has actual utility. It's not just a speculative sort of a thing, and it is deflationary. So we are burning tokens. Every time this performance fee is taken, some of that goes to the burn program, and it's quite aggressive. Until we hit the 50% of the tokens burn mark, it's quite an aggressive burn, because it happens after every single trade that's closed by a bot. So again, many improvements and bug fixes were made. There were some UI UX fixes to the performance fee in the wallets system. We've introduced the staking log system so that there's logs created when you stake, sort of like a history of your staking. And there's been a lot of work done to the bot creator system as well. So for anybody who's unaware, I'll just quickly run through what that is. Basically, we will have a bot creator interface. It's like a wizard where you can click through, and just by sort of selecting with a mouse, you don't need to know how to code or anything like that. You can build your own bot that you can use. So it's a sort of like a it's an individual bot, let's say, that any user can set up for themselves, that will execute trades on their behalf based on either the configuration that you make throughout the wizard, which is a very basic bot, or if you can set up TradingView alerts, then you can set it to you can set those in the bot creator interface, and when you're doing the configuration, you can actually set up your TradingView alerts to give it signals as well. So that's built, and testing has begun. So I would expect to see more of that in the month ahead. We are going to introduce stablecoin vaults. So this is work that's still in progress. I believe most of the smart contract code is created, but of course there's a lot of testing and validation and an assortment of phases between when the first iteration of code is created and when it gets pushed to production. That is actually quite a long journey as well. So that's still in progress. The idea there is that you can stake your stablecoins, and they will be farmed for yield. And then it's auto compounded, and there's a small fee taken, part of which goes to burning a percentage of the overall supply of UBXT. So that's the way that works. In next month, I'm quite certain, and probably in the interim, we will have an article detailing in much more detail exactly how that works. And on the monthly recap next month, I'm fairly certain that Ben will be talking a lot more about that. So V2 of the front end, this is the front end that we're all really excited about. We have a rock star who was part of the team that developed the PayPal interface. So he has been leading the charge with the V2 front end. It's not just a redesign, it's a completely refactored code base as well on the front end code. So we hope that that's going to make things, fitter, faster, more productive, etc. So yeah, huge job there, and loads of progress made on that. That is going to be ready to go for the full commercial launch, which will happen again at the end of phase 3. And a mobile app, we have version 1 complete of that. We're working at the moment on an onboarding process so that the sort of because the typical crypto user will find certain things, especially if they've already used the web app. You're going to find that the mobile app somewhat intuitive because you're kind of used to the web app. But as is the nature with mobile applications, you have exposure to an audience of users who are doing things like searching for crypto investing apps and things like that, who stumble across your app, and their lack of understanding of how crypto works, etc., can often lead to a lot of bad reviews, and we wanted to try and avoid that. So we're building a custom onboarding process that we hope will help get those sort of newer, new recruit mobile users sort of onboarded in a smoother, friction-free way. So that's what we're up to there with the mobile app. And then coming soon, the full commercial launch is going to come soon. I think before that, and it's why I've put it over here in the blue section to the right, next week, the FTX staking ends. The 2nd of August is when FTX have told us that we are going to draw a line underneath the FTX staking program. At that point, the locked UBXT on FTX will be unlocked and will be available for transfer. From FTX, you will be transferring your UBXT as ERC20 UBXT. So there are a number of great things that you can do with it, things that are, I would say, more profitable than 25% APR. One of those things is, you can transfer it over to your UpBots account where you can activate a bot and trade with the trading bots. You can see in the trading bot interface, for those of you who weren't aware, you'll be able to see the performance of the bot over the last 3 and 6 months. You can see if that's something that tickles your fancy. Alternatively, you can send your UBXT to you can send it to your MetaMask or Trust wallet, and then you can stake it on the staking smart contract, or you can provide liquidity on SushiSwap or Uniswap, you can provide liquidity on Uniswap and stake your tokens on your LP tokens on UpBots as well. So those are all options that give yield. Last time I checked, the single-sided staking pool that you can stake directly on the UpBots platform, that was around 45%, something in that range. It's a variable rate, so it changes depending on the number of participants, but it's definitely worth checking out. And just a final note on the single-sided staking on the platform, as well as the current APR that is given as a reward for tying up your tokens. Now, they're not subject to any locking periods. You can unlock them at any time, and there's a very small fee for that. And I think it's 0.03% or something like that. So you can lock them there, you can stake them on the platform, and then the performance fee system will be feeding yield back in there as well. So a percentage of the performance fees that is deducted goes to, it's an equal percent to what's burnt, is redistributed to the profit pools, which feed into the staking pool, basically, all of it. So that's an extra little APR there, and that one actually will in our forecasted numbers, that amount will be very profitable, I think, for people. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, that's, again, a very variable amount based on the amount of performance fees that are being paid. So the more users on the platform paying performance fees, the more that will flow into the staking pool. Okay, I'm going to deal with a couple of questions here. Let's see. Are there any internal development and or user-based benchmark goals that the team has as targets and must meet before commercial launch? I'm not entirely sure what you're asking there, to be honest. I mean, of course, you know, like from our side, we have a very well planned out and documented sort of series of milestones of targets, I guess, in terms of development, in terms of the roadmap and what needs to be achieved. You know, there's a whole rollout process that happens after code is built, but the way that it works internally is that, you know, the CEO and COO prioritize like what are the next features that should be built depending on, you know, our roadmap usually. And then that's given to a team or a developer who works on it. Sometimes we have multiple teams of developers working on different things at any one time. So yeah, they all have goals. Like in terms of benchmarks, I'm not sure really what you mean by that, but certainly there's a very stringent QA process. We try to make sure that things are as perfect as they can be before they're pushed into production. So there's multiple layers of checks that happen internally before ever we add that code to the code base. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but by all means, you know, feel free to ask again or ask a different way. Someone says, Neon Damon is saying APR is showing 0% at the moment. Yeah, I think that's probably a case where you have to connect your wallet. And you need to be looking at the correct. So like if your wallet is on Ethereum, is on the Ethereum network, then you need to be looking at the Ethereum pool, etc. If it's on Binance Smart Chain, then you need to be looking at the Binance Smart Chain. Yeah. So active user milestone before launch. No, we don't have a user milestone before launch. When the code is ready to go, when everything is ready, basically, for the launch, that's when we'll go. And so we obviously we have a lot more users now than we had in phase 3, or sorry, in phase 2. In phase 2, we only had a battalion, some investors, and the team. So maybe 60 people testing. With pushing into phase 3, it means that, you know, we have something like 2,000 people using bots. We have 8,000 active users or 8,000 accounts on the platform. So yeah, so there's a lot more scale, and you know, we're going to continue to market our asses off. So as new people join the platform, that's, you know, extra scale as well. And you know, as I said before, we're at the moment it's about 12 users a day, something in that approximately, depending on the day that we're acquiring. And now that we have phase 3 and any sort of a positive note in the marketplace, plus just our constant hustle, you know, I expect that number to go back up again. So yeah, hope that answers your questions. So just to go into where we're at with things, from an IT side, yeah, the launch of the bot creator, that's a simple strategy. It's linked to TradingView alerts and a series of, I would say, sort of fairly straightforward configuration options. There's a multiple stage wizard that you go through to configure your bot. Once it's live, you'll be able to play around with it and see it. It's if you can create a bunch of TradingView alerts, it's pretty sweet because you'll be able to set up a bot that only you are using on the platform. And then if it works really well, you know, you will eventually be able to submit that for inclusion in the bot rental marketplace, which is what you look at when you go in and you use the activated bot screen on the platform at the moment. I'm just going to take a quick drink. So yeah, margin trading, somebody asked about that earlier on. Obviously, that's hugely important. but it's an equally huge task. Being able to build in the it's not just about building the trading engine that can do, margin trading. You've also got to think about how that fits into the front end and the connection and all that kind of stuff as well. And there's so many things that it's fascinating in a way. Like at a purely academic level, it's fascinating. At a development level, it's at times very frustrating because there's a ton of things that you wouldn't even think about. What happens if someone closes a trade manually, on the exchange instead of through the platform, and how do we, what do we do in those situations? So we've got to build out all these, like sometimes dozens and dozens of different use cases. Like what happens if this happens, and so there's quite a lot to it to build really good software, and it's underway at the moment, but it is a huge task, and obviously the team is hustling all the time, but I'm not exactly sure when that's going to happen as of yet. It's something that we're actively working on right now. Other than that, we are still developing the courses marketplace. That's a big one for us because we believe, it's great having part of your strategy where it's hands-free. It's completely passive. You can just turn on a trading bot, let it do all the hard work, maybe do some social copy trading when that's eventually set up and running as well. But you should be educating yourself too, so that you also have, you're able to make an informed decision, and you're able to make intelligent choices when it comes to the choices that you're making with your sort of attempts to build wealth. Course marketplace is a very important part of the platform for us at least at an ethos level. Vaults I touched on already. Mobile app is built. We're just working on the onboarding section, adding OKX as an exchange to the, to be clear, I don't mean a listing for the token. I mean adding it to the platform so that you can trade there through the platform with the bots or manually. And then social copy trading that's something that we're working on at the moment as well. There's just tons going on, as you can see. Get ready for more awesomeness coming to UpBots and near you soon. So that sort of wraps up the updates for this month. I hope that gives you a flavor of what's been going on. I hope that you can see that we are all working very hard still. Except Ben at the moment, who's probably enjoying a pina colada on a beach somewhere. I hope so anyway, because he definitely deserves it on his honeymoon. So that's everything I think for today. If you have any questions, by all means, come join us on Telegram or on Discord. We love to chat about UpBots and what you can do. We love to hear your suggestions about ways we can improve. Feedback is a gift, even when it's difficult to hear. So, don't be shy and come say hello. So with that, adios until next time.